Hi everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. One of the things I have wanted to do for a very long time is to do a complete tour of the layout. About a year ago I did a short one that really didn't go into a lot of detail, so I've been working on one for quite a while. It's going to be broken down into two parts. The first part is going to be the main level, which you probably have seen in a lot of the videos if you've been watching my channel. Second part will be a detailed description of the staging level and how it works, because it's different than a lot of different staging levels that I've seen in other layouts, and so I thought it would need a pretty decent explanation. So now, one of the things since I'm an N-scaler, is that some of my most favorite layouts are HO. For example, a lot of my towns are designed based on Bruce Chubb's original Sunset Valley model railroad. He had that in a book back in the 70s, how to model a model railroad or something like that. I can't remember the exact name of it. Another one is Nick Muff, who has the Kansas City Southern layout that was talked about in Model Railroad Hobbyist back several years ago, and he did Union Station, and I was able to contact him and get some of the design information, which helped to go into my Union Station back there. And then that one flat building against the wall back there is the REA Express building. And so he helped to really a lot in how I built my Union Station area. Also, there's Chuck Hitchcock, who did the Argentine and Santa Fe back a number of years ago. I think it was like 91 and 97. He had articles in a couple of the Model Railroader, Great Model Railroads type annuals. And I've used that one to kind of take a look at how the track work would go, especially like for Paradigm, where I have two divisions splitting, one going on to my peninsula, which you'll see in the video, and then the other one going to the main line to the west. So there was a lot of influence by those three layouts. And the last one no longer exists now because he sold it. That was the Magnolia Southern, if I remember right, and it was done by Cliff Powers, and he built it inside of a outside building like mine is. And so I looked at that one for how to build a layout inside of a separate building, and where mine is behind the house. So those are the ones that pretty well influenced me. But overall, my layout is a freelance prototype, which means I change the names to protect the innocent and don't necessarily use the exact track work that was at a particular location. As you know, I don't name everything exactly as they are, even though I do model basically Kansas City, Missouri, and points west through a little bit of Kansas. For example, it would be St. Angela is Lawrence, and then Jamestown is Topeka. And I also model a little bit of Oklahoma, even though I call it Elizabeth City. It's kind of loosely modeled after Tulsa, especially the primary station and some of the tracks, because it's basically an open storage area. But I've added things to the Elizabeth City area and Tulsa to make it look more like a big city. So, But anyway, that's kind of where we're going to go. There's going to be, right after I get done with the introduction, some details such as bench work height, and, what kind of track I used, DCC control, etc., which I'm not going to go into right now. Also, in order to follow where I'm going to be on the tour, we will move my little logo, the ATSF Paradigm Division logo, to the various sections. So, for example, we're going to start off on the East Helix, just outside of Union Station, and there'll be an example right after I'm done. But I will also announce it during the video. But anyway, that's about where we are right now with the tour. If you're interested, this layout is located about 40 minutes south of Austin, Texas, in the Texas Hill Country. And it's in a standalone modified tough shed on a concrete foundation. It has its own dedicated HVAC so that we can keep the layout room, climate controlled basically all year round. We have really long, hot summers here, so especially humidity, try to keep it out of the layout room. But anyway, without further ado, we will get into the tour. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them at the end of the video, and stay tuned. Probably in the near future, we will post the second video, which will be the staging area. Thank you. The East Helix. This is the East Helix as it comes up from staging, and you can see the engine facility that is built in the middle of the Helix. There's the exit and some of the steam engines in the engine facility, some of the industry along the wall, and all the flats are 3D printed, and a good overview of the engine facility. Next is Union Station. This is the overview of Union Station. First of all, the power plants that support both the engine facility and Union Station. There's the Union Pacific Freight House, and we're coming into the station now. You see, this is the Main Street Bridge. The station is coming up on the right side. The passenger waiting area out over the tracks. The covers over the passenger platforms. And the REA Express building there in the background, behind the passenger platforms and alongside Union Station, are all 3D printed. Here we're coming up on City Ice, and there's the Broadway Bridge project that we just finished. And to the right of the Broadway Bridge, as I walk, is the Santa Fe Freight House, and then there's some more industries in the background and along the wall that still need to be painted and labeled, but that's future work. Next is Morris. This is Morris. It is the home of the Santa Fe stock feed lot, and it can service up to 18 stock cars at a time, both for cattle, sheep, hogs, and even horses. So it's a major stop for through trains that are carrying stock cars. And it also has, as you saw when passing, it has a small commuter station for passenger traffic into and out of Union Station. Next is Paradigm. This is Paradigm Station area. You notice they have some industries along here. We got a trailer park along the wall, and a lot of farm and or grain supply area. It also has a siding there where all the box cars are. It also has a World War II gun memorial. It's a rail gun. And here we come up on the station itself, and it has the duty of where the 1st and 2nd divisions split, and there's also the donut hole right there. So when we look, there is the double track is the 2nd division, and the 1st division is this near track that goes over the small bridge. So, and it's also, since we're in Kansas, it's got a tornado in the corner. Next is San Angela. Here we are coming into the outskirts of San Angela with some of the industry along the river. This is the suburban area just outside of San Angela. Here we are coming into the station area. It has a commuter station where the 3 RDCs are sitting right now. There's also a house track where the boxcar from REA Express is sitting. There's the City Ice, the station that we just finished. That was 3D printed. Then we have Brookside Milk and Cream and the Three Dogs Brewery, and that's San Angela. Next up is Jamestown. Here we are coming into the outskirts of Jamestown. Here's some of the industry. This is a chemical distribution area. Then we come into the tool and die company. That's a storage warehouse and a food distribution. And then we have a company that makes flour and for bakeries. Then we have the station area, which has a house track, and of course the station needs some work. It's just really a placeholder at the time. Here is another one of the industries. If I remember right, it's called 6T, and there's a flat car with pipe on it. And this is a Midwest power company here, and then we see this is a coal distribution area down in here. Next is Michaelson Junction. Michaelson Junction with the double track main line and the 1st Division cross each other, and if you continue going on the far track, you'll end up going up to Michaelson, then ultimately Elizabeth City, which represents Tulsa. The main line continues here west, and you can go to California, Texas, Oklahoma City, places like that. Next is West Helix. This is a good picture of the West Helix and how it comes up from the staging area, 15 inches. And it also has a track, as I consider that a branch line track at the top, that goes to Michaelson and Elizabeth City. But you can see the spline helix, how it was built. And we're coming around to where there'll actually be a tunnel entrance into the helix itself. And the inside track is the down track, and the outside track is the up track. And here's a crossing where you can go from one to the other should it be necessary. And this is a little town of West Helix. Next is Michaelson. Here we are coming into the city of Michaelson. Large farm on the outskirts, supporting industries for farms that are in the area. Oil distribution, there's a warehouse in the background. Coal distribution, a little bit more of the town. There's a meat packing plant there in the far corner, and then in the near area is in the green buildings is a lumber yard. And here we are going around farther towards Elizabeth City, and there is another farm and a work train. Next is Elizabeth City. We are coming into Elizabeth City. First thing you're going to see is parts of what's going to be the refinery area down on this end. And there's also a distribution area there for tank cars. This is the passenger station beginning, and that unfinished building there is the Santa Fe Freight House. The open area there is where the passenger station will go, which is now in my house being painted. And this is the REA Express building here. And we're going to come into the beginnings of the town or city area. And that building with the covered roof on the end there is the U.S. Post Office. And here are some freight warehouse distribution centers. And this whole town was basically going to be just open storage at one time, but it's kind of developed into what you see today. I've been just storing a lot of vehicles up here, and it's just kind of a mess right now, but the general idea is this is going to be another urban area, and there is a reverse loop around the top, but this is the seedy end of the city, if you want to call it that. And there's still a lot of work to be done up here. And there's the back side of the REA building.